Hello there, Planet Coaster friends, and welcome to episode 2 of building our medieval theme park here in Planet Coaster. In this episode, as voted by you, I am building my very first dark ride. So the inspiration for this dark ride is Mary's King's Close, which is situated in Edinburgh. So there's a street in Edinburgh in the city centre which is called the Royal Mile, and underneath the Royal Mile is a preserved 17th century street, and there was a resident who lived in the street and she was called Mary King, hence why the area is called the real Mary's King's Close. Now this is an attraction that you can go to if you are visiting Edinburgh. It's open to the public, there's tours, and it's just a really fantastic experience. However, I've never been to it because I'm an absolute chicken, and although, you know, it's family friendly, there's just a lot of ghostly activities that have been known to happen while you go down into the close. A lot of people lived in this close. It was a place where there was a lot of merchants, but the horrible thing about it is during the time period it was known to have the plague or the Black Death. That's what I wanted to capture. I wanted there to be this ride that really goes through just an otherworld time capsule. So you would have seen the entrance building itself, and it moves on to this section which is the merchants area. So we've got a couple of, you know, fruit stalls there. Basically this would be hustle and bustle where you can pick up all of the food, just like imports, different, you know, wines and beers and things like that. So it's just a real lively market stall, and I just wanted it to feel like you were on this set and you were just like, you know, transported back into that time period. And I wanted to just make sure that it just felt alive. So there's quite a lot of props going on. Got a couple of animatronics as well. And I just think it looks really good. And I just love putting down barrels. I think barrels is my favourite thing to put in this game. So as real life people actually lived in this close between the 17th to 19th century, I wanted it to feel like a place that it was really lived in. So we've got like doors there and windows, and I've put down this like really grungy texture, which is again from the TMTK workshop, and I just wanted it to feel like the street was alive. And that what I do kind of regret doing, or not including, was I did learn about the plague and how it kind of first came about. And one of the missed opportunities is we have animatronic rats that run about, and I think that would have been really good because of the way it was brought in. It was like through merchants that these rats carried the plague, and it would have been good to have it at the market stall here. So that's like the first glimpse of what you can expect. So then you move around into this corner here, and this was supposed to be for cows, like for cattle. So we've got like muddy textures here, and we've got some hay. So it's kind of an indication of this used to be an area where, again, because it's a merchant, that you could pick up some cattle. But the more that they got into realising that the rats brought in the plague, they now have to cordon off this section. So we see that they've now changed it into, from it being a cattle area, now it's into an undertaker's. Like there's people here who are now making the coffins because of, you know, people are dying, and it's a bit grim, to be honest, but that's essentially the story that I wanted to create here. And although the dark ride itself is based on Mary's King's Close, it's not got the exact layout of it. It was just heavily based on inspiration. We're now moving on to the section where it's like a doctor's area, and they're trying to like figure out biopsies and stuff like that. So almost like this is the room that the plague doctor would be working in. And then just adding in some trim for trim's sake. There is a dungeons. I'm actually building the dungeons just now, which I know is probably not related to Mary's King's Close or the plague itself, but I just thought it would be a really nice transition for the story. And definitely create more atmosphere as you're on this ride, because there's quite a lot to take in, but I feel like atmosphere definitely plays a huge part in dark rides. So we're back inside now. So here is essentially like the area that they're like trying to figure out what's going on, and there's quite a lot of coffins because, well, a lot of people unfortunately perished during that time. So here is the body, so to speak. Obviously it's all just make believe. Nobody died on my ride, at least I hope they didn't. So yeah, I'm just making these these little coffins here, and this little, I think that's supposed to be a ice cream splat, but I was just like, oh, let's just use it because it kind of looks cool. So this is a bit of an indication to like kind of a doctor's office, but if there is like blood and stuff, they have like a drainage system. But I also wanted it to make it feel like a little bit more cozy, and that's them just like doing a bit of research with like books and stuff and putting candles about, so it makes it just feel, again, lived in. And then these really cool overalls as well, overalls and books. I thought that was a really cool touch as well. But we're now moving on to the section where once you swoop around this part, you're then going to be entering into the dungeon. So we've got lovely portcullis here, and then I thought we need to have a little bit more animatronics because that's the fun part of Planet Coaster. So we've got an animatronic there that's guarding into the dungeons here, and I just thought we'll just put it's just props, really, making it feel a little bit more grungy. And we're just covering up the track pieces down to the bottom, and you would have seen that there's more skeletons hanging up. And then this takes you into the back of where the kind of coffin area was, and I really wanted to make it just feel atmospheric. So I don't know if it's included in the speed build, but I did put in here we go, yeah, a little bit of water and some mist as well. I thought that would be a really nice kind of atmospheric touch to it. Also, Universal loves to put in water into their rides, and I thought, do you know what? We're going to have the budget to have a couple of water sprinkles. So now I'm just working on the outside of the building. So this is where the queue line would be. And the goal is, where I can, I'm going to try and have it so all the buildings is when you're walking through these themed areas, you are not entirely sure where the queue line starts because everything is so seamless. It's all just put together with intention. And I do want to ensure that there's plenty of props within the queue line as well, because some of these queues can take a long time. I have been watching a couple of the guests, and by the time they get to the front of the queue, they are absolutely desperate for the toilet. So don't worry, I've put a toilet quite close by, but the queue itself is pretty long. So we're just finishing that off just now, adding a little bit more details. But I'm going to leave you guys with the POV of the ride itself. I hope you do enjoy it. The ride is going to be called 1300 because that is when the plague first started. So do enjoy 1300, the dark ride.